Right, so far I've just torn along the folded edges of everything, and I've got loads here, more than I thought, so I've actually discarded the ones that I thought might be too shiny or might be okay, so I don't think I'll need them anyway. But if you're not sure, if something looks a bit too shiny, just put a bit of gesso on and see what happens, see if it comes off easily once it's dry. But I'm going to carry on and tear these up a bit more because they're too big. And that one's torn there already. I don't tend to use scissors unless I have to. I quite like the feel of ripping paper anyway. And I just like the look of it as well. So nothing's going to be perfect. And I don't want it to be perfect. How well this one will tear. That's good. So I'm varying the thickness of these. And I'm going to fold them up. They're going to be too long, so I'm going to have to tear them the other way as well. But for now, I'm just going to keep going with this and get a variety of thicknesses. Oops. And the beauty is, if you end up throwing some of this away, well, you would have thrown it away anyway as junk. I don't really want a sticky bit on it, so get rid of that. See, I have torn that rather badly. So I think I'll get rid of that piece, keep that one. Don't like these ends, they've got a little bit of thick bits on, so I'm going to get rid of those. These are quite thin, but I think if you get a few layers of paint on, you'll be alright. And also, thinking about gessoing, I've got white gesso, black gesso and clear gesso, which is quite useful. It's nice to have some black pages sometimes. Also, I use clear gesso sometimes if there's an image or a background that I don't want to lose, but it just provides a clear layer that you can work on top of. So like this page, it was a piece of red card that was painted on one side, but I wanted to keep the red, so rather than put white gesso on it, I put clear gesso on. Awesome. Right, so I've got the thickness that I want, but now I have to think about what these are going to be like folded over. So I'm getting this one as a guide because I do like that size. Oh, we've got this as well. Not sure how I'm going to use that or whether it'll even work, but I think I'll fold it over so it would just be a small piece. So that's fine as it is. So I'm going to want pieces just tear off that end bit. I'm going to want pieces about this length, so I'm going to use that as a guide. Doesn't matter if they're a bit smaller, but I don't want to go any bigger than that. So usually you end up with more little pieces. They might be a bit small, or you could collect the little pieces and do a really tiny journal. For now I'm just keeping them all, and I'll see what I want at the end, because I think this is still going to be far too much for one journal. They're all alright already. It's okay. It's a bit long. Yeah, I'll get rid of these thicker ends from the envelope. And you could do this at the end. You could actually trim your pages after you've made it and just get them all to the size you want. That might have actually been a better idea. I'm gonna, instead of just tearing an end off here, I think I'm gonna make this into two halves. I think they're a bit small, but they'd be quite cute. Do the same with this one. So I'll probably cover those with clear gesso, or I could just paint straight on top actually. It's the thinner magazine-y type pictures that you need to put gesso on really. Partly it thickens them up as well. Oh, I've got a little... Quite sure what to do with him. You tear off this end, keep the little otter, I guess that is. Right. So there's too much there, far too much. I could make two journals out of that. So I'm going to pick the ones I definitely want to keep. Maybe a couple of those. That one. Let's save those for another one. In fact, if I put them into two piles, then make two journals. Trying to get a variety of thicknesses. I'm discarding ones that seem a bit small because I don't think I need them. So that's enough for one. Just count how many we've got here. 1, 18 pieces. 17. Excellent. Right, the next thing I want to do is figure out what I'm going to use as a cover. Do I want to use maybe just one of the bigger pieces as a cover, or am I going to find something different like I did for this one? I found a painted piece of paper, because I have got lots of watercolour paper that I've sort of done random paintings on and then not done anything with. So I could use one of those. For example, got this here. That was an image transfer that went badly wrong. Interesting. See, I think I've already tried to use that as a journal cover already. So I could use one of those. Again, it would have to be the right size. I think I will. So I need it to be about 19 centimetres long. And 12.5 centimetres wide. Probably need to fold it before I tear it. A bone folder. I've just remembered what this is called. Brilliant. Only took me about 20 minutes. Oh, it just pushes the crease down so it's easier to tear. Then I've got another little cover for something there. So this is watercolour paper, and because it's got paint on as well, it's quite a nice thickness for a cover. And you could just use plain watercolour paper, and then you can decorate your cover however you like. Again, there's another little potential cover there for something awesome. Never throw anything away unless you have a very small house. Right. Yep, so that's about the right size. Now, I'm not going to worry about whether these papers are too long at the moment, because I can trim them later. So I'm just going to fold this. And now I need to decide what order I'm going to have these in, these papers. So it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to try and vary the thicknesses, the widths, and also the thicknesses of the paper. So, well, they're all quite thin actually, apart from this one. I might put that in the middle because I think that might look quite nice in the middle. So the rest, it doesn't really matter. I will try and have the ones that have got writing on this way. I'll try and have them so that I can read the writing. If there's anything on there that I want to keep, then I can. Right. Now I just want to centre them you don't have to do this, but you do need to make sure that when you're doing your holes and you're sewing them together, that the holes are going to go through the paper. If you had a thin piece like this and you had it over here, you're only going to be sewing on one. So you really need to make sure that thin pieces particularly are centered and that you know you're going to get your holes through it. Right, that will do. I'll put that on at the end. So gather those up. I'm going to fold them over. Now you could fold them individually. I'm not sure if that would be better or not. I think with them being so thin, this is fine. If they were thicker papers, I would probably fold them individually and then put them together. I think that's going to be fine. I'll just check that it's still fairly centered, especially those thin ones. And that's going to sit in the middle. I'm going to fold this one separately. It's going to go in my middle. I haven't decided whether I'm going to keep these strings on or not. Right. And that's going to go inside my cover. I will go back and sort those out once I've done. I don't need to worry about that for now. So making sure these are still in place. I'm looking for my thinnest one. I think it's that one, the narrowest, and I want to make sure that both the holes go through that one. So I get a pencil. I'm just going to make 2 marks, making sure that they're both going to get into that narrower one. Doesn't really matter where they are as long as they're going to go through all the papers. So that's going to be where my 2 holes are. Roughly in the centre. It doesn't matter too much, and that's about 3.5 centimetres apart, or 1.5 inches. So then I'm going to get my sharp awl and I'm going to punch holes all the way through, just having a final check that I've got them all lined up. Mind your fingers. See, that's going all the way through. And that one, this is where it might be useful to use a clip just to keep them as together as you can. It's the other one. Excellent. Yeah, that clip's quite useful. I'm just going to put that down and get my needle ready. I'm going to use this waxed linen thread, and I'm going to go for roughly 3 lengths of the length of the book. So I know that's going to be enough. A little bit more. Thread the needle. Because this is such a tight fit and it's waxy thread, It doesn't slip through the needle, which is great. I don't have to worry about that. I'll just pinch it a bit, and that's on quite nice and tight. So this is very simple. I'm just going to go through the middle. So I want the end in the middle of the book. There we are. Need to keep a length. We're going to tie that, so we need a bit of length coming through. And then I'm just going to poke through and make sure that hole's working. Yeah, that hole is functional. Go through the back. So that's basically it. And if you've got enough thread, you could go through twice. I think I may have done that last time, so I'm just going to make sure I've got enough. Put it through a bit. Got enough there to tie a knot. I'm going to have a go at going through it again. Ooh. That's it, making sure everything's, because it's waxy, it's pulling itself loose again. Okay, that's fine. And back through for a second time. Make sure everything's nice and tight. I can take my needle off. And all I'm going to do here is tie the ends. And again, because it's waxy, it's a lot easier to tie because it kind of holds itself in place there when I've just tied a knot. It's just sitting there not moving. Press it down, it sort of waxes against itself. And I'm just going to do, actually I might do a double knot first. Just to make sure it's not going anywhere. Yeah, so you could leave it like that, or you could tie a little bow. Depends whether it would annoy you having a bow in the middle. I'm going to do a little bow. I can always untie it if I don't like it. Trim a bit of the end off. And there we go. I probably will get rid of those strings. I'm not sure I really want them hanging out of the labels. And I'm going to trim these bits. I think I am going to use, oh, I don't know. No, I'm not going to use scissors. I'm going to be bold and just tear. So I also like to have a variety, some really torn edges and some not quite so crazy. Don't like them, if they don't tear very well you can always go back in with some scissors and trim them. Now. I think what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to leave those on, but I'm going to just trim the ends. And I might end up getting rid of those completely. And that's it. I think I'm done. I've got a little book. I could have actually put more pages in this one, but when you get going with your gesso and stuff and paint and collage, it gets thicker anyway. So it's better to leave a bit of room for working in. And in the next video, I'll show you how I start working in these and how I prepare the pages. Cool. Okay, thanks for watching. See you later.